Oh, and I. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the February 23rd, 2022 Effingham BoS meeting. As we get started, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Came to our attention last night that we need to modify the agenda a little bit. So first thing this morning, we're going to go into non-public that'll last for hopefully no longer than 20 minutes. So we're basically going to do that. Then we'll come back into the regular meeting. And then at 10 o'clock, there's actually a meeting for anybody that's interested to talk about how we're going to set this room up for the voting day. So come on back shortly. I'll make a motion to go into non-public at 9:03.
Second.
All those in favor, all right?
Jason, can you read the RSA number?
Oh, and the RSA number with that is 91-A:3 subsection 2C. Thank you. Make a motion to come out of non-public at 9:32. All those in favor, aye. Make a motion to seal the minutes for 6 months.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
And now we will reconvene the public part of the meeting as soon as our public arrives and gets seated. Thank you for bearing with us, folks, this morning. That was not a advanced notice meeting. We had a time over. So appreciate your working with us on that. So let's start down through the agenda. Make a motion to approve the selectmen's minutes of February 8th.
Second.
All those in favor, for aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of February 12th.
Second that.
All those in favor, for aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of February 15th.
Second it.
All those in favor, for aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve non-public minutes for February 12th.
Second.
All those in favor, for aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve non-public minutes dated February 15, 2022.
Second.
All those in favor, for aye.
Aye.
Also in the signature folder today, there was an abatement for the correction of a property value that the assessor brought into us. We've been working for a few months to, I'm going to call it, upgrade the legal contract for the road maintenance agreement. So even though that contract started January 1st, we completed it yesterday with the update. So it went to Primex and it had different reviews. So it was an upgrade to all the legal language and includes everything that was part of the approved proposal with Evans Brothers for that. So we now have that signed. Would you PDF a copy of that over to their office?
Can you provide us a copy? I assume. Okay, thank you.
The other thing we did is we signed the R&D paving contract. They were the approved low bidder. That contract is contingent in the document upon approval at town meeting of the appropriation of the money. So, no approval, no money, no job. The manifest, make a motion to approve the manifest dated February 24, 2022 in the amount of $446,143.75. Wait a second. You want to second that? Oh, you got a question? You got a question, that's okay.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, all right.
Aye.
Lenny was safe.
So, well, no, he was probably just thinking about the size of the school bill, which was part of that, which was $376,000. Wait, $376,373. So that was our next school payment from that standpoint. Okay. In the reviewer mail, there was a notice of violation, but as a result of activity by the person that received that notice. I believe no further legal action is going to go on that one at this point until the person submits the appropriate paperwork to the DBA and gets approved. There was also an NRRA January 2022 report with glass and scrap metal. So when they took that out in January, we had over a ton of glass. So just so everybody's aware, we pay $40 a ton to move that. And had that not been carved out when the contract was done a couple of years ago, we would be paying $96 a ton. So by making that maneuver during the contract negotiation, it saved the town big dollars. There was also a New Hampshire DES shoreline impact permit for map 413 lot 40. We received copies of those from the state. Next up, administrator selectmen's comments. Audrey.
I am physically back from vacation. I really want to extend a great thank you to Darlene for covering while I was gone, getting the historic town hall RFP posted and the working with Minuteman on the town report. Thank you, Darlene.
Well, can you make sure, did we put that up on NHMA too?
No, I'm doing that this morning.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay, and before I left, it was a little bit of a flurry. I ran to a school district and got the list of students for Deanna to review. So I need to check where she is on that. At this point, normally I think I'm out of the picture if my memory serves me right, and she communicates the numbers back to the school. Is that right, Dave? No, I have to do something?
It comes
Okay.
back, it comes back to you, Ron. You put it.
Okay.
do it.
Straight into policy. You'll get it.
Okay. Read the policy again. Okay, I did have a flurry of 91A requests. I responded to the one from Mr. Edwards. I let Mr. Cahalan know that it was going to take some time frame. Just as a refresher, what the RSA says is the town needs to respond to the request within 5 business days. It doesn't mean that we provide the information, but we set expectations for providing the information. So the requests I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 outstanding for that I still need to respond to. The one on the manifest I had sent to NHMA because I felt like some of the information around payroll should be redacted. They confirmed that. After a follow-up letter, I then sent the same language to our town attorney, town council, and he also confirmed. And in a conversation with him last week, he said that my timeframes were reasonable. So,
Good.
yes.
Thank you for that follow-up.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I was doing everything by the book.
You should have got my emails yesterday.
Yes, I did.
Okay, good.
Thank you very much. And I still have yet to follow up with Clean Harbors on those oil barrels. I haven't done that yet. Let's see if anything major. I did see the note in last week's minutes about the NRRA grant, so I'll see what I can find out about that. We'll do another call to see about tires at the transfer station. And I have road contract on my list. Anything else, let me know.
You cross that one off.
That's it.
Yeah, tires, yeah. We get about 200 tires stopped by. So,
I'll reach out again.
I think we just have to do it weekly.
Yeah, just do it, put it on speed dial until I come.
Yeah.
I know.
and while we're on the transfer station, the fees that we're going to change, so we'll do another public hearing. But we got to make sure that the
Sectional
fees,
sofas.
that we got to get the fees posted onto the website,
Oh, okay.
because there was an issue. A guy brought in a big sectional couch and they wanted to charge him, forget what it was, $50 or something. And he says, no, he says, it's $20, couch is $20, so they get on the website where the guy get his information, it says $20 for
Okay,
couch,
I'll make sure that's updated.
but,
Add a section that basically said for bigger than normal couches, like sectionals,
Mhm.
the transfer station staff will determine the price.
Yeah.
Which is also in our policies already, that they can determine the price on everything.
Correct.
and we gotta change the cash register down there still. I don't know
If
if
I
anybody
pick,
trusts me to do it, but
if I pick that up and bring it down there, can somebody take a look at
I can go down there.
it? Okay.
It's safe for me to go down there, right? I'm not
Go
doing
ahead.
it. Okay.
take the town trash when you go, save you
Yeah.
extra trips.
I could do that.
They did do some patching. They started last Thursday, one day. They did, I believe they did Champion Hill and Pine River, because a lot of it splashed out again by now.
Pine River, none of it took.
Yeah. Well, they were trying to put it in frozen, so.
Yeah.
And it's
That was terrible.
And we touched on this a little earlier about, we were talking about the fire, and if somebody wants to rebuild, why can't we waive the building permit fee? That would be just a good gesture, and so we'll bring that up maybe later with, when we meet with Rebecca.
We'll pull copy of the ordinance and see if we can find a section, so we've got it available, that one page.
Just being kind of gesture.
Yep.
Fire wasn't intentional, so. And we talked about the minimum expense for getting a building permit too, so we'll talk about that. with Rebecca. And I know we've talked about this with putting a tower in the library, town hall. I mean, cell tower.
Yeah,
And you talked to T-Mobile that would have been best to put a tower up further up the road.
no, I met with the guys that do towers out of Whitefield. They came down.
Oh, okay.
The day I came down, because the master plan says the best place recommended in the master plan is Green Mountain.
Yes.
Of Leo Racine and Ron the Pell's property. And I walked up to the top of that. And he said at the time, it's only got about a 270-degree view. So he said, none of the major companies will sign on. Some companies will sign on for it. And because of where it's located, he said it would cost between $100,000 and $200,000 of prep work for roads, electricity, and everything else to get up there. So he said it wasn't feasible. I brought him down to the center Effingham area, and we were in the parking lot of the library. And he said that would be an okay, but again, it's very limited. You're not gonna get a big company, might get US Cellular to say they would sponsor it. He said the best place you could put it down there in center Effingham is right off the property next door, Mr. Siemens' property, I believe, in the back part of his field.
Yeah.
And he said, put up a 199-foot tower. He said, you'll basically be able to do pretty much anything you want to do.
Yeah.
And it never went any beyond that.
I had a conversation with Eric, and he's agreeable to it. He wouldn't mind, he was gonna check with his wife, but he says, I didn't, I said, I don't know how it worked, 100-year lease or 50-year lease.
But it's their standard. I don't know what they are, but they're standard.
I said, it could be retirement income for you. So, but I said, it would help in emergency communications, because, there's spotty radio coverage, and very little cell coverage. So,
And it affects not only our emergency systems and response systems and our mutual aid system,
Yeah.
but it also affects the state doing anything on
Right.
153.
But he was open to, I said, well, it's not gonna happen overnight, so.
All right, we'll put that on the to-do list after town meeting
Yeah.
and basically reach out and try and determine the next steps on that. Yes, I did talk to T-Mobile.
Yeah.
And told them what we were looking to do. They told me they were in the process of putting up a tower somewhere near Hannaford's, and it was apparently almost done when I talked to the VP. There's another one that's gonna be on the Ossipee, Effingham end of Wakefield on some mountain, but he wouldn't tell me anything else because apparently it was still being negotiated from a contract standpoint. So,
Yeah, we talk after town meeting. We got a couple more things to go over after town meeting, so.
okay,
That's all I got for right now.
okay. And I've got a couple things. So last week, we opened bids for, the Bailey Road Bridge. ATB took the bids to, do follow-up and checkup. The low bid candidate, is pretty local to us in Ossipee. And I had asked Chris to try and give me something for today's meeting so we could kind of let everybody know. He said that he wasn't prepared to give me the letter yet, but with what they worked through, there were apparently 2 questions that every single proposal half answered or didn't answer at all. So he went and reached out to get the answers to those 2 questions. And the insurance certificate that was attached to the proposal was the wrong date, and he's getting the updated certificate today or tomorrow. So we will have a communication to our office from HED next week. Hopefully that low bidder is approved from a review standpoint. Next thing I want to highlight is town reports are printed. There is a small stack out here in the foyer. If you pick up your report prior to town meeting to review it, please bring your report to town meeting. We purposely have not printed endless supplies. It's expensive. We end up throwing away way too much with that. So we think we've got enough for everybody. Well, we know we're gonna have enough for everybody if everybody basically picks one rather than 2. So from that standpoint, thank you.
That's everyone who attends town meeting.
Correct, yeah. No, well, but there'd be some that won't attend town meeting that'll pick it up.
They
We've had-
will.
Yeah, we've had that happen too.
It is on the website
That's right.
also. Yeah.
That's what I was gonna, the next one. It's like, and it's up on the website. For anybody that wants to look at it from an internet standpoint, you can see it on the website also. Okay.
Historically, we put some at the library and some at
that-
the post office.
We actually
Yeah.
talked about that this morning, and when I leave today with the Boston Post cane to put it up on the 2nd floor of the library, I'm gonna take them up. So the library will have its.
You want me to
stack
drop a
today.
few off at the post
I
office?
think
Sure,
it would be worth it,
great.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for the cover picture, Mr. Garza.
Yes, came out really nice. Thank you very much. Okay, that's all I had. From an announcements standpoint, tonight at 5:30 is candidates night. So if you want to look at anybody that's applying for a position and hear what they've got to say, you should be able to come. I know the write-in candidates, Deanna told me, that the ones she's aware of are being contacted to see if they want to come in. A couple of them have said, no, they don't want to, but if you do, you're there and it'll be available.
And it's only the contested races. Or is she letting anyone speak?
I think she's letting anyone speak.
Oh, nice.
No, I typically haven't been that.
Okay.
Okay. Public comment. We're open. Any questions, comments, concerns? The big one I think we'll hear with all the storms that are happening and the thaws and the freezers is the roads. Lenny covered that the road maintenance crew is currently ready to go. I actually had a discussion with Ron in the last day, and he's got a full truck of coal patch inside his garage, keeping it warm, so that as soon as we get the break, he can go out and put it down. So we'll do the best we can do there.
I have a question, Chuck. I remember last year we were discussing the different types of patch. Are we using that, the improved stuff?
The good stuff, yeah.
Okay.
But the issue is that if the
Still.
hole, if the hole's full of water, then I'm gonna put any patch in it because it'll just pump back out again. We've talked about, is there anything else we can do, like temporarily put gravel, sand or something in there? The negative on that is there's a cost attached, and it will last only until the next storm, and then it's gonna get washed out. And if it doesn't get washed out, it'll have to be tamped or dug out prior to any coal patch. So it's not, there's no quick fix, easy solution. We live in an area where we're gonna have that happen every year. Until we can get our roads upgraded a little bit, we'll run into that. As far as the gravel roads go, I do know, the crew was out this morning at about 2 o'clock, because apparently every one of our dirt roads was an absolute sheet of ice. So they were handled, prior to, sunrise, basically, all sanded out. So. Vicky,
Question about the fire on Bailey Road.
Yep.
What's going on? I mean, scuttlebutt is that no one from the town attended
incorrect,
right away.
incorrect.
They were there right.
Mutual aid arrived there first, which was Wakefield, which is like 3.5, 4 miles away. They arrived first. Freedom was there, Houghtonborough was there, Ospey was there, Effingham was there. It was handled.
It was handled, but is it not supposed to be Effingham that gets there for, I mean, if someone can come from
Not
Houghtonborough
first.
and from surrounding towns, why is there no one that's attending from Effingham?
They did attend. They're
Not till later.
They, as soon as they could get the call and they could get there, they got there. That's why we have mutual aid, because we want to make sure that somebody, regardless who it is, wherever it is in the town of Effingham, they get there and handle it as soon as they can. And that happened.
I'm kind of, makes me nervous to think that your house was burned down because people aren't getting there on time, and the house burned down.
The house was gone before the first Wakefield truck arrived. It was not even begun to be savable. It was gone, too fully involved. So there was no way to save what was there
All right,
because of where the location was, the time it came in, and the amount of time the fire had ahead of notification that it was
well,
fire.
that's why I wanted to ask,
that's
because
good.
everything that's going around is not correct then.
It was fully involved. First person that.
That's what New Hampshire Fire Alarm said too, on
I don't have that.
Facebook.
Yeah.
They said that it was fully involved.
And we do know that the chief, all the chiefs that were involved with that were in a meeting in the last day or two. And they basically reviewed it and everything was up to snuff as far as they were concerned. So we got a good report relative to the support for that particular event.
And did a fire department have to go back a couple of times?
Yep.
Because it wasn't. Okay.
Yep.
That's true.
Because of flare-ups. Yeah, and I believe it was 2 times, right?
Yeah, one Sunday, one Monday.
So, there was foam on it, but foam froze and it's not always gonna work. So,
I just wanted to get it clear.
thank you. Because it's important, if you've got the question, to make sure it gets on tape with the answer. So thank you for asking that. Anybody else?
Do you have anything to add, JP? to that?
No, Wakefield did get there first and we arrived right after Wakefield. So we were there, it looks like 6 or 7 minutes after Wakefield. So, and it is important for you guys to know mutual aid contracts everywhere in the Ospey Valley system. Anytime a building fire or any major incident goes out, there's automatic aid that is started at the same time as Effingham. And that's a standard thing. That's not just something we do here. So at the same time, Effingham is being dispatched, Wakefield and all these other surrounding towns are coming as well. So it's getting everybody on the road faster. So unfortunately, the staffing crisis is nationwide. It's hit us pretty hard in Effingham. Our numbers are very low. So we were thankful to get a truck there and have a truck there working, and as well as a couple of guys. So we're doing the best we can with
I
what we
guess
got.
that was my concern, that why are we not getting there
And that's
when it's so close to fire?
absolutely, absolutely. So we did get a truck there, we did have a few guys there, so
And the staffing, and with the low staffing we've got, as a result of dealing with the external firm Municipal Resources, Inc. and their fire services director, I got a bit of an education during our whole hiring process. Nationwide, it's not only affecting fire services, but police services. People are deciding they don't want the jobs anymore. And particularly in fire services for volunteers, because they're required to have a couple hundred hours a year of training required, just to stay as a firefighter on a volunteer basis. And a lot of people are basically just making decisions since the whole COVID thing hit us over a couple of years. They no longer want to do that. So that's one of the reasons that we've got JT in, and hopefully we're gonna be able to get additional firefighters from the area willing to work part-time shifts for us. So daytime coverage.
So you're saying that people aren't volunteering because of the requirements?
Part of that, yeah, the time commitment. It's a time commitment. It's not just come and get your
Right.
gear and go to a couple training sessions. You've got training sessions all throughout the year. And it's required every year. So unlike some things where you take the course once and you basically certified, you never have to go back again. These folks are required every year to go through training to keep up. So, and a lot of them are just making the decision they don't want to do it. So what I did find out, a couple of the towns in New Hampshire, I think Rye was one of them, if I remember serves, literally got to the point where they could no longer get volunteers and they had to hire 2 full-time firefighters just to have the coverage they needed in town, because they could no longer get part-time folks to volunteer for that. So if it continues the way it's going, we're gonna be there at some point because we're just not getting the coverage. We had the same problem with the police department. We basically had, when Chief Duchesne came in, we had 8 part-timers immediately sign up. And then when it came time to basically work, they all had regular full-time police jobs and they were comfortable doing what they were doing, and they declined to basically do our part-time stuff. That's why we went to a second full-time officer earlier this year, was to get us patrol coverage.
Do we know surrounding towns, how many are volunteer and how many, we know Wasp is paid, right?
Well, there's 4 or 5 stations in Ospey. One or two of them have paid people, but most of them don't. I've never run those stats, Vicki. I do not have those.
Okay. Yeah, I was just,
I mean, it would be a good one, and there may be a way to get that information if we make a request or have JT make a request of the mutual aid folks, their association they've got, where we can basically say, can you give us the rough numbers of who's full-time, who is volunteer, and kind of what's your totals.
Like, why are towns getting volunteers and we're not, you
Yep.
know?
Everybody's, from what I understand, we're not the only ones having a problem. All set? Rosemary?
Just a quick question on, how many firefighters do you have? I have no idea how many we have, how many
We're down.
volunteer. I know we have some of the daytime coverage and stuff. How many actual firefighters do you have?
there's between 10 and 12 people on the roster right now. And not all of those are active at the moment.
Or how many active do you have?
There's probably, I'm gonna say 5 that are actively coming up to calls, myself included.
And that's a lower number than it was even 3 or 4 years ago. And the trend is not good. It's continuing to go down in the industry. So we got the daytime coverage in. Now if we get the staff, great. We've got a couple days covered at this point, and JT's got some people that want to make an application to be appointed to be able to come in and work as a work day shifts. So we're just, part of his job is to make sure the recruitment thing happens, because we know we're in a low.
And are
Yes.
these local people, or do they have to drive from Rochester?
I have a couple that are local, but the majority of the day shift people are gonna end up being from away.
Oh,
But day shift means they're here. So during that 10-hour shift, they're not waiting to be called in, they're sitting in the station.
and those are paid positions?
They are. That was what we approved at the last town meeting. So that Monday through Friday, daytime coverage, up to 2 people, 10-hour shifts each day. That's what we approved at town meeting. And it's worked out because somewhere in the high 50%, low 60% of our calls from May, when we approved that through year end, were actually daytime calls. So from a value standpoint, it worked. They also saved a couple of bodies that would not have survived if they'd had to wait another 2 or 3 minutes. So we just in the saving of the life, we've already paid for whatever we paid for part-time coverage. So, okay, anything else, Mr. Regal?
You stated that this is happening widespread throughout the valley, correct?
It's widespread nationally.
All right, is there an entity that anybody has approached to see if they can make these requirements less onerous, especially for volunteers?
It's state law. So
Right, but-
contact your local legislator and make the case, and hopefully they promote it, and hopefully somebody adopts it.
I'm talking about from a town level.
There's nothing we can do. It's a legislative action, it's gotta change. So you'd have to basically become a legislator or, a political action entity to be able to try and get that information out to get it changed.
So meanwhile, everybody's around wringing their hands going, we got this problem
Yep.
and nobody's doing anything to fix it.
People dealing with it the best way they can. I mean, there is a move right now in the legislature to change the New Hampshire retirement system information, because right now, if you retire from the New Hampshire retirement system in group 2, which is fire and police, you cannot work more than 1,300 hours a year if you then come back to work. So in Chief Duchesne's case, he's maxed out at 26 hours a week. There's a move right now in the New Hampshire legislature to change that totally, because last year during COVID, there was so many retirements of chiefs of police and officers in departments that they're having a problem filling the slot.
Is that also, when you say come back into work, does that also apply to volunteering? Are you talking about paid positions?
No, these are all paid positions.
Right, but what about retired people, say from a fire department, becoming volunteers within a town?
I do not know the answer to that question. If they're collecting the check, I don't know what it is. Because even becoming a volunteer, they do get paid when they go on calls. They do get paid when they're trained. And I do not know the answer to your question, whether that type of pay would impact the existing state law. No.
All right, thank you.
All right, folks, we are 5 past the hour. We have a 10 o'clock meeting scheduled. You're welcome to stay in this meeting. It's going to be talking about voting day and how we're going to handle that entire process in this room. Okay. Ms. Moderator.
And you're going and,
No, we're going to leave it open.
okay.
We'll leave it open, have a discussion. Unless the moderator doesn't want to leave it open. Yeah, leave it open too.
Public discussion.
Good, yeah, and we can take it.
Nothing secret. Nothing secret here.
Yeah, oh, yeah. So Susan, we're gonna continue just running the tape too, so whatever the discussion is we have here, we'll show up there. So,
I'm just gonna turn off the camera because I think we want to be walking around and,
that's true.
okay.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a little bit
camera. So this will be voice recording only, no camera. Thank you.
And then we need Deanna and Robert come in.
Just stop video, right?
Yes,
Do they know they're coming in?
they know they're coming in,
Okay.
yeah.
give us a minute for our 2 office staff that will need to be involved with this process.
Do we need Pharaoh in here?
What's that?
Do we need Pharaoh in
I
here?
hope not.
To run the place?
I hope your crowd's not that tough.
Maybe on the 12th, right?
On the- That's right, that's exactly right.
We have the camera on, so you can sit in the front aisle.
Okay. Oh, my.
You are still being recorded, but there's no camera.
Oh, camera's on.
Okay, so Lenny and I were talking, and we kind of asked for this meeting with all the interested parties to make sure everybody's on the same page relative to what's going to be occurring during town vote March 8th. We are using this building, this room, and there has been some work that's been done, which we will ask to be shared here in a moment. I also asked the fire chief and the police chief to come in because I'm guessing with the volume of cars, we're gonna have some traffic related items out on School Street that we'll deal with. And we need to make sure no matter what we're doing, that we keep fire lanes open for fire trucks and other things. And manage the maximum of 49 people plus 10% in the entire building. So there is a fire code that does max us out to the number of people who can be in the building at one time. Who would like to, Ms. Moderator, I'll turn to you, and you can ask whoever you want on the other side.
Well, thanks for organizing this meeting. I think this is a good idea. First, I'd like to introduce Jim Pittman. Everybody must know Jim, and we talked him into being assistant moderator this year because he is running unopposed for moderator on the ballot. So I'm hoping that this will be a training session for us. So he's been really great about participating in training sessions, and I think it's good to have his have it here. So we have voted in this room before for many, many years. It's a little bit different this year, but I think we did a run through with Audrey to talk about the setup of the room a couple of weeks ago. I don't think it's so much this room setup that I have concern with. It's everything else, it's outside parking. There's a lot of water in the parking lot today. Let's hope it's not like that voting day. We're gonna have people with signs. Where are they gonna be? Those kind of issues, I think.
How far do you want them away from the building?
So we usually, when we vote at the school, we kind of have that sort of
Walkway.
asphalt walkway width, which seems to work. So, I would say closest would be over by the flagpole, maybe. And
Yeah,
out
'cause
that
it
way,
cannot be between, they can't obstruct the voters coming in.
right?
So with your discussions, have you talked about, so we know there's gonna be a number of candidates that are gonna be standing outside.
Right.
In the weather, no matter what the weather is, with their support systems and signage and whatever. Have you folks talked about how you thought that might work on the exterior of the building?
Well, we used to do it before. I think it depends on where voters will be able to park and where they'll be walking towards the front door from. As long as people with signs are on that flagpole side of the horseshoe entrance, I think it'll be fine.
Okay.
So can I interject? That's where we were hoping the police and or the fire
Yes.
department would direct traffic. We have permission to park at Wild Thurston's.
It's a storage unit.
Yes,
Yeah.
as long as the units aren't blocked.
Right.
The staff can park out back.
Okay.
And there is going to be curbside voting offered for people who can't be in a group of people because of COVID or whatever reason.
Mobility issues.
Yes.
Yeah. So those people will drive up near the front door and you will go out to them.
Yes.
And I have asked Ron Evans to clear as much snow off the front lawn by the flagpoles around the building as possible.
Oh, that's good.
Is
Yeah.
there anything that can be done about the water?
We get a cold spell.
Yeah, and then it'll be ice.
Could be an ice skating rink.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We can talk to Ron and see if there's any.
So it would be sand, like if it's icy, it would be sanded ahead of time and stuff. I think that's all we can, I mean, we have to live with the environment we have, so.
We'll get Brad to come in and do a super sanding
Yeah.
of any of the walkway areas the night before.
Yeah.
Well, the voting doesn't start until 11.
Yeah.
So I think, that morning. Be good.
And Monday, 3 to 5, the day before the election,
Absentee balloting.
anybody can come and vote. COVID can still be a reason that you come Monday.
3 to 5.
3 to 5.
Yes.
We need to
Yeah.
really advertise that.
Yes, and I did want to ask, maybe if one of the selectmen could be present. We'll be busy in the office and somebody needs to be out here with the voters.
So when they come in
Can be there.
Thank you.
to get their absentee ballot from you send them in here to vote.
Yes, but because of the stuff we have to do on the state database, putting those in, and Barbara's new, I will not be available to be out here.
Right. Maybe Jim and I could talk about being here.
Sure.
But
3 to 5.
okay,
That's
all right.
Perfect. Thank you.
We wanted signage for the driveway too, so people, there's an entrance and an exit, and you only have cars going one way through that horseshoe. Because you'll have people park on this side for handicap and we just counted approximately 21 people in this room at one time with all the voting booths full. And if we want to keep, COVID 6 feet, we'll have what maximum of 4 in the foyer. And you're gonna only allow 2 to come in at a time to the check-in table.
At the check-in table, they go to vote and the
Yeah.
next two.
Right, they'll come in here, exit there, go down the sidewalk and leave. So it's gonna,
In my training yesterday, the Secretary of State's office wants us to still use our sneeze guards, our
Yes, yeah,
PPE.
yeah. Definitely.
and we'll have the back parking lot too. So I don't know as far as you guys.
No, it's fine for us. My only concern would be the mud, depending if it's a warm day or, people driving back there, I don't know if they're gonna get back out. That'd be my only concern back there. Other than that, I have no issue. Maybe they can come up the walkway.
Well, the walkway between the buildings, the water on it was taking my life in my hands
Yeah.
this morning.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Can we have at least a couple uniforms?
Oh, yeah.
For the traffic related stuff, a minimum of 2, and if you can get another one, that'd be great.
It's 11 to what?
7.
11 to 7. Yeah, I'll have at least 2 of us here.
Okay,
If we need it, I can get it first.
okay. I just, depending on the volume of people that decide to come at once, and they usually come in spurts.
Sure, yeah.
We could have a lot of people parking on the road, trying to drive in here, not paying attention to any signs, anything, and we're gonna basically need to steer them
Yeah.
where they can
Have to
travel.
Little clocks, Chloe.
Huh?
Little clock.
Perfect. It's all like there though. Oh, no, it's just coffee.
Did we decide on a meeting that week? We meet Monday, Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Do you want to talk about town meeting day? You're going to vote day? Feeling comfortable?
Are we good with voting day?
As long as nobody's got any additional questions, I got the answers I was looking for.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking that, we'll have the COVID precautions, but we're not having a mask mandate this year. Is that your general?
My preference, but if.
Yeah.
It's your.
I mean,
call.
the selectmen,
We're good.
this is your bailiwick here.
No, we're good.
I'll go with my optional.
You haven't
So
said there is a mask mandate.
So that being said, between now and then, the school could go
Yes,
back to
yes,
mask mandate. It's
Yeah,
up
I'm
to the
just talking
school.
about here right now.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
So that's my
Optional.
thought about approaching this. Then the school is a little bit different. That's the school board's prerogative, and they have voted to lift their mask mandate as of March 7th, depending, I guess, on what the conditions are on March 7th. So I'm assuming that at town meeting, mask will be optional. But we'll still follow some of those COVID precautions and ask people just to be careful, I guess. So you're on the school board, Jim. So that how will they decide March 7th what the mask requirement will be?
Well, the superintendent will be keeping an eye on, what the transmission rates are and whether we have any outbreaks anywhere in any of the schools. I would say at this point, the likelihood that we would reinstitute the mask mandate is low. It's not zero, but if I was to throw a number out there, I'd say it's 10 to 20% possibility. As you know, or maybe you don't know, the kids will be coming back from vacation week. And in the past, the approach has been to have a 2-week buffer to see if anything happens in terms of, okay, we have a big outbreak because everybody was everywhere doing everything. This year, because the transmission rates are lowering at such a significant rate, it was decided that we would not factor in the 2 weeks. That doesn't mean the dynamic doesn't exist. And because the 7th will be Monday when they come back, and by the end of the week, we'll be going to the town meeting. It's entirely possible, maybe not probable, but that within that 5 or 6 day period, we could see a huge outbreak somewhere.
They're on break next week.
Yes. So that's really the ground rules, and it's going to be up to the superintendent to determine whether the metrics require reinstituting mandatory masking. But at this stage, the anticipation is that it most likely will not be an issue.
So unless something, we're told, before Saturday morning that masks are required, we'll just proceed as is.
We have a few boxes, right?
I was just gonna ask
Yeah,
you, do you
we
have
have some
some that you
boxes.
can bring Saturday morning? Yeah, good, okay. What else do we need to know?
You're gonna have wipes here for the booths.
Yeah, I have all that from the state.
So we have the election workers set up, the kind of like
Counters.
counters, like.
Yep.
And. people
Jake
during the
Strauss
day.
is gonna be a ballot clerk.
Right, good. Yeah. Are you thinking the same numbers Saturday? Like.
As
check in?
usual?
Yeah. Yeah. Good, okay.
So do you have whatever you need for the labor lined up to set this room up where you need it?
We can do it.
Yeah.
Because nothing needs to be brought to the school.
Yeah.
It's all right here.
Okay.
Right.
Barbara and I
But
can
if
do
you-
it.
if you do need anything else, just give us a heads
Thank
up
you.
so we can try and find some body count.
Yeah, we might need Randy to set up that tent. He's the only person who's ever done it.
That's true. That's
And it's
true,
not an
yeah.
easy setup.
No, it isn't, and that'll be right there,
Yes.
and people will
Yeah,
exit,
that's
after they vote, they'll exit out there. So when they go out there to get to where they park their cars, where are they going? Like, are they coming back this way
There's
and
a
around?
walkway. The
Okay,
walkway is that way.
If you basically put staff and other people out behind here, you
Yep.
would have general public going out there.
going back there. Okay. Yeah, so the voters will go out that door and down this way. Yep. Sounds good.
Right. From a fire standpoint, anything that
No, it sounds good. The COVID mandates pretty much take care of occupancy loads, so. it Should be good.
Okay. We'll just need to make sure we keep the fire lane open. And can you make sure any medical equipment in this building is up to snuff?
Absolutely.
Oh, and maybe, the fire department, Randy was coming in every week and a half and doing the spray.
Oh, yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
Is that option, an
Yep,
option?
absolutely.
Great, before and after.
So like Monday
Yeah, because Monday we have people.
or
Monday,
coming in.
Tuesday morning or first thing Tuesday morning or something. Yeah,
Great.
awesome.
Good. Anybody else got a question? Now's the time to bring it up.
Can we ask? them?
Sure. You're here, it's public meeting.
All right. My question is, so you mentioned about taking ballots outside,
Yep, it's called curbside voting.
is that?
It's
I'm
legal.
concerned about
We've-
that,
We've done that,
Of leaving the building.
no, we've done that forever. If a person is unable to get into the building, we have sent usually the town clerk out to the car. The ballot doesn't go anywhere. It's under complete supervision of the clerk and the voter.
Do
and
you want
it
me to
comes-
tell you the
comes
process?
right back
And I'm
in.
sorry, I don't have the RSA at my fingertips.
That was a state law before there was a pandemic, so.
So the process is, they'll pull up, let somebody know they want to vote. I will go out and see who they are. If I don't know them, I will have the driver's license. I will have the checklist, make sure they're on the checklist. If they're on the checklist, I come in, like I'm the person standing there in front of the ballot clerk, and I say, so-and-so is curbside voting. They check them off, they give me the ballot. I walk out and I stand there while they fill out all the paperwork. It's not just they vote and that's it. There's an absentee ballot application, there's an affidavit envelope. It's not easy peasy.
Oh,
It's gonna be a 15-minute process
Yeah.
from start to
Oh,
finish.
wow.
And if
Even,
they're,
even
Yeah.
in the,
know,
even
yeah.
in the height of that first year with COVID, we did not have
No.
that many people doing.
no, because the people who thought they were gonna do that, when I told them what it involved, they said, oh, I'll just put on a mask and go and vote.
We have one.
But do
It
a
was a
lot of
miracle.
people like do the absentee, the mail?
We got 7 so far. But I anticipate a lot of people showing up Monday 3 to 5.
Yeah.
It's becoming more and more popular, especially now where COVID is the reason.
So if you come in 3 to 5, is that an absentee vote also?
Yes.
It's an
yes.
absentee vote, yeah, and you do not show up at the polls.
Right,
Next
but
day.
you still have to fill out all the
Oh, yeah.
affidavit.
Right.
and all
Oh, yeah.
that
Right,
stuff.
application, right,
And that's been the process for
ever,
ever, many years.
forever.
Learning.
Yeah, thank God, though, they didn't make us set up tents and
Yeah.
replicate or
Yeah.
mirror the inside with.
Yeah, that double voting thing was crazy.
Mhm.
It's like, ooh.
That was a lot.
Yeah, too much for me.
Any other questions?
I'll be here Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you guys will be here Tuesday?
I will be.
I'll be outside,
Outside?
fresh air.
I mean,
He's on the
on
ballot.
the premises.
He's,
That's
yeah,
right.
he's
Yeah,
on the ballot.
but
Can I just interject about candidates night?
yes,
I found out that
that's
there.
tonight.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
I found out that there are 2 write-ins running against Chuck. So,
So I had heard one.
well, no, I heard a second one yesterday. So we invited both of them
Okay, good.
to come. One said no, thank you, and we haven't heard from the second one.
Okay. Have you gotten submitted questions yet?
One,
I have
One.
one sheet for you.
Okay. Yeah. All
Is
righty.
that gonna be just on Zoom or is
No,
it gonna be here?
here as well.
Okay.
That way people can watch it after.
And what time
That's
is
it.
it? 5:30?
5:30.
Okay, yeah.
Good. All right, folks, if there's nothing else, I thank you for your time. Everybody should feel comfortable that the 8th of March is gonna work perfectly. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Are we gonna have the purple footprints that Marilyn used to put down on the floor?
I've never seen them, so I don't know the answer to that one.
Nobody ever
The yellow
followed them.
brick wall.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Do you want those questions, Susan, in my office in the office? Or wait
Okay.
until tonight?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. If there's nothing else, motion to adjourn.
I was thinking it.
All those in favor, pull eye.
Thank you,
Right.
everybody.
Thank you very much,
Thank
folks.
Vicky, you are more than welcome to stand outside with me.